Okay, we're live. It's the first Thursday in September of 2025, the fourth. NFL regular season kicks off tonight, Larry, in case you were interested. The Dallas Cowboys taking on the defending Super Bowl champ Philadelphia Eagles. Just needed to get that out of my system, so now we can go. A lot of big things happening in South Florida, as usual. We will begin this evening by talking about something that I know you did a video on recently. We will discuss Latin American buyers, foreign, obviously, dominating the South Florida real estate investments when it comes to the housing market. Evidently, South Florida is exploding with international cash. Latin America is leading the way. I mean, this is Boca, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach. I mean, basically the Tri-County area. You got global buyers claiming nearly half of new construction, which is, I believe it was in the neighborhood, a little over 5,000 properties. So that's quite a bit. You think South Florida's market's cooling? Well, tell that to the foreign buyers because they're dropping millions of dollars in cash. Nearly half of all new construction is going to those international clients. Okay, so Larry, have you run into this so far with your dealings? I mean, do you see a lot of foreign buyers coming in, showing interest, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, buyers in South Florida let's say this, there's a vast community of different buyers coming from all over the place, right? What we tell sellers all the time is, there's so many people in South Florida doing so many different things, moving and interacting with listings for so many different reasons. Investors, international buyers from Latin America, from Europe, from Asia. It's just so much is happening in South Florida because it's so international, because it's a business, it's a very popular area for businesses, right? Tax advantages, et cetera. So there's just so much happening. But specifically for this, I mean, we heavily market internationally. Our website is in 16 different languages. When we list our property, we list them in 16 different languages, right? So this is a thing, man, like for sure.
Well, and when I think of South Florida, I mean, specifically Miami, I immediately think of the Latin American influence that's been there for, my goodness, at least 75 years. I certainly didn't imagine that changing anytime soon, which is more the reason that I find it interesting that it's like, why now are we suddenly seeing such a surge in Latin American buyers? Or is it always like that?
I think it's always like that. I think probably general demand is down overall. And so like, that's okay. But the percentages are similar, right? International buyers bought $56 billion in US homes, up 33% year over year, which is still big. Florida leads the nation for the 16th straight year. That's just shows how international our market is. It's the biggest international market. I was talking to a client. We were in Miami on Tuesday shooting a video, right?
Oh, right.
That's really exciting, but we'll table that for now. So we were there. We were working with clients, right? And we were just talking about like how interesting Miami is. Hate it or love it, Miami's just it's
one of a kind. I'll give them that.
Yeah, it's a very special, unique city. It's huge. Freaking huge. There's parts of Miami that don't even speak English, right? Like for sure, yeah. Right? So like you just it's so international and there's so much, it has so much to offer. Some people can hate on it, whatever, but Miami has so much to offer, especially international buyers. We talked about just being being such an international city and also being in the US. So that right there is like a thing because you have the protection of the U.S. government from a number of perspectives, right? You have just protection of currency, right? Which there's tons of currency risk in other countries across the world, right? You have Colombian buyers, Venezuelan buyers. Their currencies are a mess, right?
As volatile as their countries are.
Yeah, or just let's say Venezuela is probably Colombia maybe not so much as bad as Venezuela, but
right.
These are the things that like are really intriguing. And then you have such an international base already that it's just very, very easy for them to go there. I always joke when I fly out of Miami to go to Latin America, it feels like I'm leaving like the airport and everything that I'm leaving in Miami. When I land again, I feel like I haven't left Miami. It's just like I'm in Miami, right? The airport's similar, the language is similar. It's just a very similar thing. And then when you fly back, vice versa. So Miami, and again, it has the party element, the weather, the tons of investors. It just has that spirit that like a New York City has, which is like that hustle culture. And if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere type thing. Right. So it just has all of that. And there's just so much happening. So I think that's why South Florida just so happens to be the spot. Geographically, it makes sense too. Right. I mean,
and it certainly explains a lot in terms of South Florida always bucking the trend when it comes to, any sort of dips in the market and things like that. It just seems like to a certain extent that South Florida was like impervious to all of it. Obviously now it's finally getting to a point where we're feeling it a little bit, but for the last 18 months, at least, I feel like every national headline I saw with, something negative about the housing market, it's like, well, it's not happening down here. I don't know what's happening.
Totally. What's so interesting here too? This article talks about like out in South Florida, 49% of new construction condo sales went to international buyers, and Latin Americans being a majority of that. Right?
Yeah, it's crazy. And I just because I think about Brickell, because I saw like Brickell was a large, portion of that. Excuse me, that Miami particular area. And I was just like, God, I'm sorry. I know Brickell's got some nice stuff to it. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I hate traffic so much that like, I've gone down there like on dates and stuff a few times. I'm like, God, like I hate this. Like bumper to bumper. I'm fighting with everybody, just trying to get through.
It's just like
stressful.
If you live in a downtown market and you're like walking and moving around,
then it's fine.
It doesn't matter. If you're like driving a car through New York City, like you hate it, right?
I didn't know anybody even does that. My God. I mean, I've known so many people, and obviously, come from a guy in the Midwest who, when they moved Northeast after school and things like that, if I recall, most of them sold their cars. I mean, what the hell was the point?
100%. Well, I mean, Brickell's similar. Like it's very common to just walk around, right? So,
if the Brightline station was closer to it, it would have made my life a lot easier. But that's the way it goes.
This is interesting too. Miami ranked number one U.S. market for international home shoppers in Q1 of 2025. Miami-Dade is number one nationwide for net international migration. So the most people move to Miami or Miami Metro, right?
And I'm sure there's a comfort level with being such a bilingual area. You know what I mean? Like there's, you're absolutely right. It just, that must make such a big difference.
Yeah. And it's fun. And it's like I said, it's like if you're international and you like when I travel international, I don't say I'm from Boca Raton. I say I'm from Miami. It's just like if you lived in New Jersey, you're from New York, right?
You know a guy named Mike? Right. I mean, they immediately think they know you.
This is cool too. Latin American buyers remain a top cohort. 28% of all foreign buyers in the last NAR report. So they were 28% of all foreign buyers in the latest NAR report. And this is within South Florida's 2024 Miami survey window. Argentinian buyers alone purchased about $367 million, mostly in Miami-Dade, with 68% all cash and 91% buying for rental or vacation use. So that's a big piece.
It's the all cash that gets me. I'm like, geez.
Yeah, there's a lot of international money trying to, That's what happens when you have like a stable reserve currency, right? Which might be at threat right now, but we'll see. So Yeah, it says policy and currency instability in parts of Argentina, Venezuela, Colombia, and beyond. Yeah. Desire to protect wealth in U.S. dollars and a stable legal system. Yeah, exactly. Direct flights, bilingual communities, cultural fit. New construction is just clean and easy. All that is offered here in Miami, and it just keeps going. It just keeps going. So
yeah, I knew a girl pretty recently who was from Argentina, and the way she broke it down was that in terms of sort of the financial arrangement within that country. I mean, it just seems like it is just the gap is very, very wide there in terms of the haves and have-nots. So I guess the haves are making their way up here a little more.
Haves are diversifying, protecting themselves. Let's talk about the next topic.
Let's go to the other side of South Florida, heading north to West Palm Beach, where things, in some respects, aren't as sunny as they would like to be. In fact, South Florida home prices have decreased down 3.8%. Many sellers, as we've talked about before, they're just removing their listings instead of cutting prices. West Palm Beach homes, of course, are sitting longer than they have in the last 12 years, but sellers aren't cutting deals. They just keep pulling out. So homes, 95 days. Wow. I mean, that really is a long time. And again, my question, Larry, does it surprise you how many sellers are willing to just walk away instead of at least trying to lower the price?
I'm not really surprised at anything anymore. Maybe that's the best way to answer that. I think the big thing for us as real estate agents is like kind of identifying what your pain points are, what you really need, and what really makes sense. And a lot of people don't even know what it is. So you have to kind of figure out that with them, or ask them questions and provide information to help them kind of make a decision. I can't tell you how many times I get questions and then my response is, well, first let's frame this up as this is a personal decision, right? It's a personal decision. You guys got to figure this out. Like, you guys got to decide this. I can give you some information, but you're going to have to decide if this makes sense. And so I have that conversation so often now, just because it's like, hey, we're not going to get the outcome we hoped for. We're not even going to get the outcome that maybe makes us money, but we need to do something, or we don't need to do something. And we were only doing this opportunistically. So what we're seeing is like the opportunistic move doesn't really exist so much anymore. So the opportunistic move is sell because I'm making a bunch of money, sell because I can sell this thing and buy this thing and do better. Like, that's not really a thing. It's sell because I have to, sell because someone died, sell because of a divorce, sell because we're relocating for work, sell because we have no more room to keep our children in the house and we need to scale up or scale down, whatever that looks like. So that's really what we're experiencing mostly. And so when you identify that up front with people, it's just very clear. It's just like, okay, well, we're either going to sell for this price or we're going to not do it. And a lot of people here are just like, we're not going to do it, and some people have delusions of like, next month it's all of a sudden prices are going to come back up another 5, 6, 7, 10%, which sounds insane, right? Like, in 1 month prices will just jump. Probably not. But and then other people are just like, hey, this just we can just hold it. We don't want to take that out. So, yeah. Which
again, I'd imagine for so many of these people, it being a secondary home so often in this market, that, what is the point of taking the alley if you're willing to wait it out?
Yeah, it's opportunity. That's why it's a personal decision. So it's like, hey, can I take this money, even though I'm about to lose $100,000? Can I take this money and the remaining money and do better with it somewhere else? Is there some opportunity that I'm missing because I'm not selling this? Right? Is the asset that I have going to start costing me more money every month because I'm not selling it? Like, what is going on? Let's talk about that. And everybody has their own opinions on that. Mm-hmm. I can give you my opinion on how I think you should do you, but like that's not, that's not my place to do that unless you really want me to do that for you,
One of the stats that stands out to me as I'm looking at some of the numbers in front of me, 95 days, obviously a whole lot. I'm glad we have the national median on here just to give it a little more perspective, which is 43 days. So it's like, wow. So it really is. It is twice as high as the national median right now. I would have guessed national median, or at least, again, the median versus the average could be totally different. I would have guessed closer to 2 months, but either way, that is a lot longer.
95 days is a little higher than what we historically saw between 2015 and 2019, which I would call a little bit more of a stable moment.
It was like 89. What was it? It was high
80s, right? Yeah. So you're like in the 80s. So like 95 is fine. I think I was just giving somebody else the speech just a little while ago. I think the market's kind of fair right now. It's like fair. The buyers are upset about it. The sellers are upset about it. No one's happy. That usually means the market's pretty fair, right? Nobody can manipulate one party or the other. Nobody has all the cards. You kind of have to work it out. So, which there's a broker that told me this, said this to me when I was doing a deal and I was representing myself on a multifamily. He's like, you're a little unhappy. They're a little unhappy. That usually means we did a good deal, right? So it's like, good. Okay, good point. I was like, that's a pretty good point. So, so 3.8% price drop, right?
Yeah.
And other stats suggest more, frankly. I mean,
Fort Lauderdale, Miami, I mean, my goodness, they're right there with them, 92 and 86 days respectively. So it's not like West Palm Beach is, just sort of the odd duck in this whole thing.
Yeah. Let's see. I was actually just trying to pull up prices so you can see this here too on our buddy Reventure here.
Yeah. Which I know we've talked about the delisting several times. The one that Realtor.com had an interesting report was that the Miami Metro, 59 delistings for every 100 new listings, which leads the nation. So again, nobody is happy right now.
100%. What we did notice, though, actually, more recently, things picked up a little bit. The inventory kind of like turned a little bit down in Boca specifically, which in August, which is kind of interesting because typically it starts to climb up, but usually the September number each year tends to climb. So we'll see if that happens in September again. Here you can see home values have gone from 489 to 464 according to this chart here. And you can see what 06 looked like, and then subsequently following 06. And then look at this run. Look at this run. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to not see things come down a little bit. It's probably not going to do something like this, but
old times, like, it was a good run.
Look at this jump here, right? 358,000 in 21, 467,000. I mean, these are huge jumps, huge jumps. This is always an interesting one. Overvaluation number. How overvalued is our market? It was 37% overvalued. Now, more recently, it's only overvalued 13.4%, which is kind of interesting, right?
Yeah.
So, yep.
And frankly, a little more reasonable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit better than it's been. That's for sure. Yeah.
So I'm sure the condo owners have been feeling it a lot worse because the spike in inventory has, needless to say, created a buyer's market naturally. According to this, inventory has surged roughly 10 months of supply, which is the most in years. Median condo prices are down 6% statewide. Well, Larry, if you've been waiting to buy a South Florida condo, this could be your moment.
Yeah, possibly. We'll see where this goes. It still feels a little like, still feels like there's more runway.
I was gonna say that it still hasn't found rock bottom yet, if you will.
Yeah, that would be my initial reaction. don't get me wrong. I think as time goes on, the core issue of these buildings aren't funded properly. These buildings haven't met their engineering study requirements, concrete restoration, whatever else they got going on, seawalls, et cetera. I think we're knocking that stuff out, and a lot of these buildings are getting through it. And so these buildings are a little bit better off than they've been before. And so give it another year. When did they give the deadline for these guys? Was it this year?
They moved it a couple times. Yeah, I think it's
the end of the year.
Yeah.
Right. They had to get their reserves right again. Mm-hmm. So give it another year, I think, though. and we'll see where this goes. What we've seen that like really just is like really hurts is like the $150,000 condo that once was, or like the $90,000 condo that once was like $200,000. Like these people are getting clobbered. So the people in those types of condo buildings throughout South Florida, not all of them, but there's a handful of them that are just like, we don't even take the listing, right? We just
is it gotten to that point for you?
Yeah, I mean, we have to be very direct when we're in that moment where it's like, okay, you own this $100,000 condo. You thought like 2 years ago it was worth 200,000 or whatever the number is, right? Some number that's way higher. You still think it's worth 200,000. We sit down with you or we jump on a quick call and I look it up and I just say, hey, just so you know, condos there's 50 condos on the market that are just like yours. They're all 100 days on market. And the most recent one sold for $75,000. You should price it $75,000. Yeah, but what about this and this? It's like, hey, here's the deal. I'll take the listing if you really look at this and understand what's happening. Otherwise, you can just go work for somebody else. It's okay. Like no pressure, but like we're only going to take the listing if you price it right on those like really cheap condos, because it's been a situation where almost if you don't have to sell and you're not in a situation where you're functioning mentally properly, then we're just gonna like, it's just gonna be a big waste of everybody's time and money. And so like it's that bad over there. It's like, no, we're not even, I'm just very direct. Your condo's worth $75,000. I know you think it's worth $185,000. I know your buddy next door told you that. And maybe 2 years ago it was, right. But if you don't price it at $75,000, I know your neighbors are priced at $125,000 and they're the same unit as you, but they've been on the market, 200 days. And so you're not worth over $100,000. So the conversation goes that way. And then a lot of times they don't love that conversation. So they'll go do their own thing and they inevitably won't sell or they'll end up in trouble. And so you're seeing some investors kind of that really understand these communities kind of slip in and make that like $50,000 buy. We've seen it a number of times.
Really?
So, yeah, totally. Like we just like, it's just obvious. Agents on my team are buying these, or on our team are buying these units. Like they're doing this. But again, you have to be like, if you're going to go buy opportunistic condo deals, you got to be really dialed in, man. Nah, I'm not buying them.
I was going to say, I mean, I know you don't pass up a good opportunity. If you're not buying them, then wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And 10 months of supply is like a crazy number. So relative to market, again, 6 months is a neutral market. 6 months of supply is neutral. Anything below 6, seller. Anything above 6, buyer. And so to be at 10, I mean, I don't know the last time we were at 10, 15 years ago, maybe, you know? So,
I mean, and I know there's a number of factors here, but I don't know if there's a way you can prove it one way or the other, but I'd have to imagine everything is really rooted in the whole structural assessment fees, that ends up being more condo fees and so on and so forth. I mean, if it wasn't for that,
it's a combination. Like condos used to be like the affordable solution to get your little slice of Florida, right?
And you feel like that allure has gone away a bit?
100%. Like, okay, so like the insurance prices for these condo buildings are like bananas. Then you're paying HOA fees because you're layering in reserves, by the way, that should have been paid for the past 20 years. And so now the new owner's got to like own up on that, or the current seller needs to pay it all off. And you don't have a guarantee of what your future looks like because clearly they screwed up this for the past 20 years. What are they screwing up next? Right. And so you get this like crazy, it's like believing in, I mean, I think most people have a general distrust of government. You're just like, right. You're just like, okay, I'm going to take my little government operation and put it in my condo building and let them run my life. It's like, this is insane. This is nuts. Right. This is so it's a little, and so everything's so costly. Now it's like, well, we might as just buy a house, right? If we're going to pay that much money for a freaking condo monthly. So I think the cost in general, so like the ability to buy your little slice of Florida is like, is gone, you know, for most people, for the average person.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what's not gone? All those Save Boca signs in front of people's houses. I see them everywhere I go, in front of businesses. Like I said, I mean, I was getting my hair cut the other day. I mean, I found it there. You know, we have Save Boca stuff everywhere. In fact, I saw somebody had finally commented on the video discussing the project that you had done a month or two ago, you know, talking about how, my gosh, I mean, I almost want to pull up the comments.
Are they upset?
No. They were upset. They were, which, you know what, frankly, I was glad that they commented because I've said many times, I don't understand why people are so against this.
I just had a long conversation today with somebody, somebody we're getting ready to sell a home for. And they, you know, they had some opinions and it was just good to like, just hear their thoughts. What did they say?
I don't know. Now they're gone. I saw one earlier because there was a notification and everything about it, and I was like, "Oh man, it's like somebody is fired up." But just that I guess because it's private, you know, that it's private companies that are heading up the operation was a big part of it. I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't find this now. I really was like, "Oh, okay, somebody gave a thought."
So while you look it up, I'm sharing my screen here. Save Boca Group submits petition signatures in attempt to force vote on redevelopment plan. Look at how unhappy everybody looks. It's
crazy. Again, it's like, I'm just sorry that I can't relate more. Like, even if I disagree with you, I always like to be able to understand where you're coming from. I'm having a hard time on this one.
Yeah, so 5,200 signatures, a 99-year deal, a $3 billion promise. Boca's biggest land debate just turned into a citywide showdown. It's great. So actually, somebody put one of the yard signs in my yard.
And I get the feeling that's a lot of that is happening too, because they know most people are not even going to notice. I mean, how often are you looking outside?
I gave it back. I gave it back. Yeah. So anyway, so for those of you who don't know what's going on, there's a resident group called Save Boca. They've submitted over 5,000 signatures to City Hall to force a vote on whether the city can sell or lease more than half an acre of public land without any referendum. So basically, they're upset that the city of Boca Raton took this 30-acre government campus right close to downtown, Palmetto and Dixie by the Brightline area, and they're upset that they've basically given this land or made an agreement, an arrangement with a massive developer to build this epic downtown area, which I'm generally excited about, because I think it's going to
a huge
improve.
leap into the 21st century with everything else you have going on around it.
Yep.
Particularly with the outlet to the rest of South Florida and beyond with the Brightline. I mean, it makes sense in terms of planning ahead and being proactive and not reactive to everything. I think it's great. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
It's like traffic.
Yeah.
What are you doing all day that you don't have time? Like, go around it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So the traffic is one of the arguments, right? Against it.
Which by default, I mean, that's no matter
Yeah.
what the project is, that's always an argument.
Yep. And so, so for whoever's not familiar with this, we'll just, hold on. Let's see. I have some pictures here. Let's see. We've showed these before. We've talked about this a bunch. Let's see if I can open this up. This is kind of like the pictures here.
Well, hell, I mean, I'll pull up your video.
Oh yeah, there you go. You can share that. But this is, so, I mean, they're talking about redeveloping 30 acres. And so on these 30 acres, there's a little bit of park area, which is like baseball field, and some stuff like that, right? And then there's warehouses. Then there's the city hall, which is older, could use a revamp. I mean, these warehouses, that was from an older time when warehouses next to train tracks in a downtown like Boca Raton was probably the better move. Now, obviously, all those warehouses should just go away. So removing that and improving all that infrastructure there, improving the park area would be amazing. It would be really cool. But again, I think a lot of people are just upset about they don't trust the developers. And so there's this like argument about like, hey, one, this was done without a vote, but that's why we voted in certain city officials. And technically these city officials have the right to do this, I guess, but I guess that's an argument to be debated. And it's Terra and the Frisbee group, sorry. They're proposing nearly 1,000 residences, a hotel, offices, retail and restaurant, plus a new city hall and community center on the 30 acres for what we call the government campus in downtown.
But here, I mean,
recreational facilities at the side, tennis center, skate park, and softball fields would be relocated and expanded elsewhere in the city. And by the way, the city has a ton of other land that they spent $40+ million on, just right outside of downtown. That is epic, right? Yeah. So, yeah. and they basically protected that. They bought that. That could have gone to townhomes, condos, or something else. So it's kind of interesting to see. There you go. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah. So I'm going to pause.
Yeah. So it's a big area.
Yeah.
It's a big area. And by the way, like right now, like you don't really go there to like hang out, right? Like there's nothing there.
I mean, yes. So obviously come from a sports guy. The fields look nice, but you know what? Virtually every time I've gone by them, and this spans a couple years now, I never see anybody on it.
Agreed. They're not the nicest. There's way better parks, fields in Boca.
Yeah. I mean, Sugar Sand Park is beautiful. I mean, my goodness, the amount of amenities and stuff there, it's crazy.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, David H. They will take my tennis courts where I played for 20 years. No good.
Okay, see, that I at least can understand. That's reasonable.
I go there. Got it. Okay. Yeah. But David, aren't they going to build more tennis courts?
I thought they were building new ones there.
Or like on the other community or the other properties that they acquired on the northeast end of Boca. So, like I mean,
again, like something like that, I can at least understand. I'm like, okay, I mean, but I was under the impression that all of these things, like the tennis courts, like these fields, they're going to be replaced and put in other parts of the area. Now, yes, you may have to go a little farther north to like Boca Chica and the former Ocean Breeze golf course for the skate park instead of Tim Huxhold skate park there. Like, I get it. I understand some of these things, but it's like it's really awesome.
On those new locations in the Northeast that they're building, I mean, the tennis operation, the pickleball and the paddleball facilities that they're building up there, it's going to be
the nicest in the state.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're talking about Florida. I mean, recreational sporting activities in general is kind of the gold standard. So when you say anything along those lines is the best in the state, that's saying something.
Yeah. So that's, paddle and racket. Yeah. So there's this one, a paddle and racket facility, which is a private company, right? That's putting this up in in the east corner of Boca. That's on the Palm Beach Post, right off of Clintmore Road near Congress, which is interesting. So, I mean, I think they're like replacing a lot of things and probably making them better. Like the skate park's going to be way better in the Northeast. It's going to be,
and that's a
way
nice
bigger
skate park anyway. I mean, I never remember seeing anything like that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Not that I was a big skater.
I get the strains, roads, and utilities, but I mean, first off, they're gonna upgrade utilities when they do this. The roads are there's gonna be more traffic, but I don't think you can get around that. Kind of hard. This is great. This is great graphics, John. You're doing good.
Well, AI did the work, Larry. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yep. Recreation's moved and upgraded.
I mean, look at this one that I was like, wow, that's gonna look really nice.
All right, so the tennis is they plan to have 10 clay courts plus center at Meadows Park. The skate park is targeted for the North Park, which is what we were just talking about. So they're moving a lot of this stuff and upgrading them. So
I'm just surprised that there's so many people against real, hopefully long-term progress for the area. That's just kind of my gut feeling on the whole thing.
Yeah, so how the petition works. Ordinance path needs 3,676 verified signatures. Council must adopt it or send it to voters. Charter path needs 6,112 verified signatures, automatically goes to an election, and can only be changed by another charter vote. So that's interesting. Money and timeline notes. Developers projected $3 billion in long-run revenues over 99-year lease. City frames the partnership as a way to modernize civic buildings without spiking taxes. Opponents prefer traditional public financing and smaller footprint in downtown. Yep. I
mean,
okay, land use precedent. If the ordinance of the charters passes, any future sale/lease of greater than 5 acres city land could require citywide vote. That raises the bar on all big public land deals, not just the campus. Charter is far harder to reverse. Yep. Downtown's future form. The campus plans concentrate housing and offices by Brightline, consistent with transit-oriented growth, upside, walkability, et cetera, et cetera. We already know all that. Yep. Signature certification by the city clerk. That's what's next.
See, this is, by the way, this is what, when the tennis courts, this is what I was thinking of with some of the new residential areas. I was under the impression these are still going to be open to the public.
I believe they are. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Council decision, adopt the ordinance or send it to voters. It'll be interesting to see if this goes to a vote. It'll be super interesting to see how this plays out.
I know. I mean, like I said last time, I might have to bring some popcorn and just kind of come sit in.
Yeah. David, I think I know where you live, if I know who you are. And I think you're closer to the new tennis courts in the northeast of Boca, but maybe I'm wrong. I think it'd be better location for you. Let's move on to because that's such a touchy subject.
I know.
Yeah, this is interesting too, and we'll see if this gets done. Since Save Boca advocates are preventing or trying to.
Oh, that's right, man. I mean, we talked about this literally like 2 years ago.
Yeah. So this just they just broke ground.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
About time, because I think about it anytime I drive by there. I was like, well, I don't see anything yet.
Yeah, so they recently broke ground. So this is the residence at Martin Manor. It's a historic neighborhood in Boca Raton that's getting a new chapter. 95 affordable homes, a community hub for kids, and a 50-year promise of affordability. This is Martin Manor. Yep. So I'll show you where this is on the map for those of you who might be interested in this if you live in local Boca, East Boca. Sharing my screen. It's taking a second.
Yeah. I'd imagine it's probably one of the oldest neighborhoods in Boca Raton, and particularly like the whole county. I mean, you could tell just looking at it. If I recall, it's built like what, right at the end of World War II or during World War II?
Oh yeah, this is like this is a very, when we were doing the video, I was running around over there. So this is where it is. It's East Boca, north of Glades, east of Dixie. The work here will be, I think this will be great because this is so dated, without question. This is one of the older things in Boca. Yep. So who qualifies for this? Households earning 22 to 80% of area median income, which is like way better than what the Live Local Act does, right?
Which is like what, 80 to 120 or something?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, wow. And so 95 apartments, 4,800 square feet community clubhouse with after school and summer programs. So this is meant to be like a real affordable housing project and in an area that really could use it. So 1940s era Dixie Manor, right? Wow. 1940s. Target completion date, fall 2026. Man, these guys have aggressive timelines. Okay.
Yeah,
so
right. I mean, I guess, shoot for the stars.
Totally. So here's an example of what they're thinking. Groundbreaking held for residents at Martin Manor in Boca's Pearl City. That's kind of the nickname for it, or official name for it.
Right. Which I didn't know until I saw the article.
So long-term affordability, the on-site services, and they plan to add another 105 units on the site's southern portion. So they're starting with 95 apartments, and then they're planning to add more on a second phase. So we'll see how that goes. That's way more housing than that area has right now.
Yeah, it's all single story, and it's kind of small.
100%. Let's see if I can actually show. I wonder if you can go in here. Here you go. No, you can't. I'll do it from the street. So this is kind of what it looks like outside. There you go. You can kind of see it.
Very yellow.
Yes, very yellow for sure. That's what they look like. Not like there you go, Dixie Manor. All right, here's what they look like. Bingo. So, and now they're planning to do something like this. And this has been talked about for, like you said, years now. Yeah, they call it World War II era complex. Yeah. Which
I'd imagine, having a few buildings that are a couple stories like that. I mean, fortunately, you'd be able to fit obviously a lot more families and people in that area.
Yeah, this is good. It's something that East Boca can benefit from. So it's 36 one bedrooms, 39 two bedrooms, 18 three bedrooms, and 2 4 bedrooms for starters. And they're all reserved for that 22% to 80% income range, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, this will be anybody who's fortunate enough that needs it to live here, because I'm sure you could build like 1,000 of these and still not, serve the people who could really need it. But it's it's an effort, right? Mm-hmm. The affordability is locked for at least 50 years. This is a very rare commitment in South Florida, right? Yeah. That they would lock that growth for 50 years. But so everyone has
that. How does that actually work?
So the owner of this land, or whoever's responsible for this project, I don't know how they structured the deal. I don't know if they've sold it to the developer and the developer's building it, or if they're partnered on some level. But or if it's like city owned or public housing owned. Basically, they can't violate this 22 to 80% household earning requirement. So because realistically, if they were able to just make it market rate, they would be able to sell this thing for like a lot more money, right? The value changes. And so this dirt becomes worth something very different if it's not locked like that. So this is kind of a public-private probably effort to provide affordable housing. and that's historically what it's been. This has been the like Section 8 type product in here. And so now this will be like a really good, clean property that's really well maintained, which is what it should be instead of this 1940s stuff that's sitting there. So, yep. Yeah. What else? It looks like they're spending 7.8 million or 7.1 million. Let's see, funding snapshot, 7.1 million FHFC, 60K from the city of Boca Raton, equity from First Horizon, and construction and permanent financing from City Community Capital. Local reporting pegs First Horizon's tax credit equity at 19.8 million and city's tax exempt construction loan at 27 million. So yeah, interesting. So again, it's just a partnership of groups trying to provide affordable housing in East Boca Raton, which is nice. Yeah.
You know what's also nice? Whole Foods. I mean, I feel like I just don't go there enough.
Jupiter,
they're putting a new one in Jupiter, but there's a little more to the story. If you're familiar with the sleepy 1980s plaza on Federal Highway / US 1, it just sold up there for $53 million. And yes, it's getting a Whole Foods. Ram Realty Advisors purchased the 197,000 square foot retail plaza from Orion Venture. Okay, so if you live farther north in Palm Beach County, you probably know of 101, 181 North US Highway 1 that goes to Palm Beach Gardens. Yeah, I mean, they're quietly always building up there.
Jupiter
I guess some of the older stuff, they're kind of recycling it now, if you will, by bringing in, some new stuff.
Jupiter has an exciting tailwind. There's a lot going on here. It's cool city, right?
I used to go up to Abacoa. I mean, I worked up there for a little while, but even socially, I'd go out there. It's nice.
Whole Foods, right here. It's coming. But that's a big big payday, 52 million. Nearly double what they paid for it in 2015.
I mean, that was only 10 years ago.
Yep. Yeah. That's crazy. That's the kind of, asset value growth South Florida has produced.
Well, and especially, in Jupiter, I saw, I think the Palm Beach Post or somebody had kind of a clickbait article up the other day. And I find myself always looking at those. It was kind of going down a list of celebrities that live up there. And I mean, we knew all the PGA golfers are up there, of course, having the headquarters and everything else. It makes sense. But, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Nick Saban. I mean, it just goes on and on. I mean, these aren't just faces. These are like icons of their respective sport.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like, wow. Just quietly, it's like, oh, wow. So, I wonder if I'd ever run into them.
We've seen a lot of people relocate from Boca to Jupiter.
Really?
Right. Mm-hmm. Some people think that Jupiter is what Boca used to be, right? That would be like the argument. Like it's like, 20 years younger or something like that. Not to say it actually is, but that's the commentary. It's like it's a little less intense, a little less dense. In Boca's, as we've seen, is in mass development mode, and there's a lot of things that are happening that are getting built that even say Boca residents probably aren't able to stop right now, like the Batmazian project and things like that have been approved, right? Yeah. So, yeah.
It's so funny, though, but it's like all you got to do is take a trip up to West Palm or obviously go south to Fort Lauderdale or Miami. And it's like, no, you're not that big. Stop this.
Well, that's the thing, right? And so we come from that perspective. And then others who have been here for 40 or more years come from the perspective of like, this used to be like farmland. What are we doing?
Well, I mean, it's so funny you say that. I can remember, and this was like the late 90s, the Laws family took a vacation to Jupiter. Where did we stay? I don't know. But anyway, we went to see Cardinal spring training, among other things. And I remember like that Roger Dean Stadium, it was like its first year. And I still have pictures of it. And I remember like, there was nothing. I mean, it was in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So now with Abacoa built up around it and everything else, it's just like, yeah, everything here used to be, there wasn't a whole lot going on. So,
population here has dramatically increased since I got here 20 years ago. During the summer, there used to be no one here. No one. And now, like, I don't know. It's like
year-round.
It's insane. Yeah. It's insane. Everyone's here year round. And then the winter is just even more chaos, right? Yeah. So, yeah. Let's talk about what's going on in Wilton Manors. We don't talk a lot about Wilton Manors very often.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
What is going on in Wilton Manors? Oh, the Wilton Hotel and Pool Club. Anywho, skyline level pool, glassy rooftop. I feel like there's a lot of those going up. Level 8, which is a hotel meant to revive 5 points. So if you're wondering why isn't it rising yet, well, I don't have that answer. But when will it finally open? So 123 room boutique hotel with a dramatic rooftop. It's got meeting spaces, club level suites, valet only parking, all the bells and whistles that come with some of these nicer hotels and things in South Florida, of course. The city commission's approval came in 2024. Now the county, what is the county plat?
Plat, it's just the property description / boundaries, etc.
Gotcha. Yes. If you're wondering why it paused, it was because the high interest rates and new tariffs pushed costs above initial budget, and the team shifted to financing, operator, and GC selection before the permits. So as of right now, the timeline has pre-construction through 2025 and the spring of 2026, with construction set to start afterward. Excuse me, the target opening date is late 2027. So the next Wilton Manors landmark, it looks nice.
Yeah, it's going to be cool, right?
Yeah,
it'll be cool. I don't know if I'll hold my breath on it getting done, but yeah. This is it's kind of interesting location, right?
Yeah.
We've sold a number of houses down here over the years, and I'd say Wilton Manors is a cool vibe, right? Like there's some, it's interesting, like that area performs like pretty well. It's pretty pricey, right? Yeah. And one of the reasons I would just say is because like look at like its proximity. It's like in a good location.
Right by Fort Lauderdale. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, its proximity to downtown Fort Lauderdale is great, especially if you're living right here. I mean, it's a 15-minute run, right? Straight down, which is cool. To maybe even less, frankly. That's not 15. That's like 10. Yeah. So, yeah, 66 lounges and day beds by the pool, bar and grill, 2 meeting rooms, Sky Cafe, Sky Terrace, which will be really cool. Like the Sky Terrace setup, right? It's always cool to have kind of like that sky lounge, especially in areas that don't have a lot of that. Like I think that'll be very, very popular. Like we see that being very popular in Delray, and they've added I think there's maybe 2 rooftop bars in Delray, maybe more than 2 at this point.
Ray. That's really nice.
Yep. So yeah, and that does really well. I mean, because it's like if the weather's great, that place is on fire. It's crushing it, especially during the season, like the winter time. Like it's just when it's actually tolerable to be outside, right?
No kidding. That's a different discussion. But I'm kind of laughing looking at its location. I feel like it just sort of stands out as its own thing. Is this one of those cases that when somebody decides to build something there, that it's in hopes to like draw in other potential big projects right along? You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like that first plant that sort of springs up, and hopefully like the rest of the stuff comes up around with it.
I'm sure there was some zoning stuff that needed to get done here to make this happen too, right? Because like to your point, look at how high this thing rises amongst everything else in the area. And there's probably some aggregation of just different properties, right? So they probably had more than one parcel here that they had to collect and assemble to make this happen. So looks like they picked up most of the block, or the whole block actually. So yeah, I wonder actually if they pulled that off. So for reference, they may not have got the Wells Fargo up front. Yeah, I see Wells is here right now. They're probably gonna, it may just be in the back that they're doing this. So that's where it's going, right there, right? Back there. So it looks like they left. You can see that these two buildings are still there. So they're building on the back side of this site.
It's like, I'm sure you've seen the pictures before, you know, with all the growth in Brickell, where that Burger King that's like right there in the middle of it, that's been there forever. You know what I mean? That they've built all this stuff around it. Like, I've seen just random, you know, Instagram posts and things where people show that it's like,
well,
in the middle of all this progress, you still have Burger King, and like they haven't
updated
it at all or anything else.
There's like areas like this is the trick, man. The magic trick of like if you own property next to a big developer, you know, you got to time this right. You got to sell when they need it, right? So there was a house in Boca. I drive by it all the time and I just ask myself what's going on here. But they got like two different parcels here, right? One here, there used to be a house here, and then this big developer that's got this. And so like it was this weird dynamic of this person like holding out or not getting a deal done, because logically you would want this whole thing, right? Yeah. If you're the developer, but they held out. So this is a completely separate deal on its own, which is interesting. And I'm pretty sure they've permitted and figured all this out without them now. So like to change things would just be chaos. Mm-hmm. So like you've lost the opportunity. That only guy that's going to buy your thing is no longer going to buy it, because he already went down the path of spending so much money building without you that it would be completely unproductive for him.
Maybe they're going to stick one of those like shipping container houses there that are kind of popular in some cities now, just like a couple of shipping containers, like one on top of the other on top of the other, and they you know, build into it.
I think that's a little harder to do in South Florida because of the wind requirements, right?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I think like the Miami-Dade code.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, because you don't see a lot of them down here, right? No. That's kind of like
I saw, you know, like obviously when I was living in Tulsa, they had a cool little shopping district that had a whole bunch of them. That was the first time I had ever seen that. But yeah, like, you know, it's like a hipster thing to do in a lot of cities.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's some risk there for hurricanes that they probably haven't figured out how to handle yet. But you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I'm thinking we're going to wrap it up here. So want to thank everybody for tuning in. On behalf of Larry Mastropieri, broker, owner of the Mastropieri Group, I'm John Laws of Discover South Florida. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.